Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube, and I am coming to you on this Wednesday, August 28th, August 28th, 2024, with my next update video. We are back. It is a Wednesday. My last video I don't think has been up for a full 4 days yet, but here we are. we're here anyway. So before I get into everything, welcome everybody. Welcome to both my returning viewers as well as anybody who is new here. Perhaps you are checking out my channel for the first time. Thanks y'all so much for spending part of your day with me. On this channel I talk mostly about cross stitch, though sometimes I talk about books and knitting, and that is the case today. Today is going to be kind of a different video for me because it's going to be less update and more extra stuff. We have a whole bunch of things to go through. So we have the project singular that I have worked on for the last few days, just a little bit of a progress update. I have a discussion on full coverage storage. I have a little bit of Q&A. We have some upcoming plans because the WIPGO draws went live, and so I can share with you what my WIPGO projects are for the month of September. We've got some giveaways a little later. We have some books, some knitting. We got a whole mess of stuff. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. The lighting today is going to be a little sus. Taken from the Gen Zers. It's going to be a little sus today because it is highly overcast. We are headed up to like a heat index of like 104 today, I think. It's like the last really deep summer day. But it's super overcast. So it's gonna do what it's gonna do. Fortunately, we don't have a whole lot of projects to look at today, so it should be all right. So let's jump in with the works in progress. We're gonna do kind of the stitchy update first. We'll save the extraneous stuff for later in case you are only here for the cross stitch whips and such. Okay, works in progress. Let's get into it. Work in progress. So as mentioned last time, I am working on Personal Sunshine. So Personal Sunshine is by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artist here is Jeremiah Ketner. Jeremiah Ketner has been retired from HAED, and so this project is no longer available. You can find Jeremiah Ketner pieces at Charting Creations and Thread Geeks, but they have kind of different offerings than what HAED used to have. So just bear that in mind. So let me show you the progress that I have made. This has been the only thing that I've worked on, and I've had very fluctuating progress. Like I would do 300 stitches and then 800 and then 200 and then 1,000. It's kind of what it's been. So I've made some progress and I am very close to that page finish on page 10, which is very exciting. It is, because those flowers are coming into view, I'm getting a lot of changing colors. I called it confetti on Instagram, but it's not exactly confetti. It's just that I am transitioning from purples to deep reds and then from deep reds to pale purples. So it's not exactly confetti so much as just atypical color palettes, if you will. But those flowers are coming together. I'm always surprised when these little sprigs of flowers kind of pop up. So I'm like, what on earth is that random single white stitch and a couple stitches of 211 and then bam, there's a little sprig of little flowers there. So yeah, I am I think 600 stitches from the page finish. So hopefully I can do that today. We shall see. And then I will scroll down and get started on page 15, which is it's on the bottom row. So a couple of exciting milestones. I finally accomplished my July section. Running behind, definitely. But I did accomplish my July section, and I am a few hundred stitches into August now. I also yesterday crested 75%. So we're at the 3/4 mark here, just beyond the 3/4 mark, which is very exciting. I'm thrilled. Every few days I hit a new milestone, either 20,000 stitches left, or I haven't hit 20,000 stitches left, but a new percentage milestone. It's just very exciting. We are coming towards the end on this one. And forgive the traffic noise behind the camera. What else? I haven't zeroed out any more colors. I will zero out 1 or 2 more, I think, before the end of the page. So yeah, very exciting. So that is the progress update for Personal Sunshine. I don't do before and afters for, oh, that reminds me. Okay, I don't do before and afters for projects that are mid-rotation, so none of that today. So I was just reminded of the fact that I totally forgot to do before and afters in my last update on Saturday. It totally, totally slipped my mind. So no before and afters for the last couple of weeks, but that's all right. Not a big deal. Okay, so let's talk about plans, and then we'll talk full coverage and Q&A and that sort of thing. First up immediately, we've got a few days left of August, and so I'll be working on Personal Sunshine through the end of the month. I'm not going to get my 5,500 stitches in this time. No way. It's not going to happen. And so it will carry on, and hopefully I will catch up in September. I also have my car project that I'm hoping to get going on Friday. It's not going to be today because today is it's too much. But on Friday, I hope to get my car project going. And I have a change to what my car project is, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. So that's the rest of August. Then September. I'm really conflicted about September, I'll be honest. I have current WIPGO calls. I have past WIPGO calls. I have full coverage goals that I'm running behind on. I have Touching the Autumn Sky that hasn't seen in 11 months. So there's that school of thought, if you will. And then there's also the Sampler September. I really enjoy Sampler September. I like stitching on samplers. It's very different than full coverage stitching, so it's kind of a nice break. It's a bit of a palette cleanser, if you will. So I'm conflicted. I haven't yet decided what September is going to look like, so we'll talk about it when I know more, is basically what it boils down to. So as far as plans for September, we'll just talk about my WIPGO projects that were called on Sunday morning. So let me walk you kind of through how I do this. I do the draws on the 24th, but I try not to look at my WIPGO boards until you all get access to it. I try very hard to wait until the 25th when they're posted in live before I look at my WIPGO boards. It just feels more honest that way. Like I don't get advanced information just because I run the thing. Sometimes I break that though. Sometimes I'm just too darn curious, and so I do check my WIPGO boards to see what's coming up. But for the most part, I wait. And this time was the case. I waited until Sunday. I got up, we had breakfast, we got the rest of the Sunday stuff going, and then I came and checked my WIPGO boards, and let me tell you, I was so excited. The numbers are 4 and 11 for September. Okay, number 4. Very exciting. Lives in this project bag by the brass button. If you watched my last update video that went up on Saturday, then this looks familiar because this is April by Anna Dittman. So I'm gonna real quickly here just show you my starting point, even though we just saw it like 96 hours ago. That's okay. And I'm gonna get the page finish on April here. Like Personal Sunshine, this is plain antique white Lugana 25 count. I'm stitching 1/1 full cross, and yeah, so I'm gonna get page, I think it's 8. I think this one is 6 pages across. So I'm gonna get this page finished. It's a little under 3,000 stitches left to do, and I am so excited because as I talked about on Saturday, I find this to be super soothing. So yay. Very excited to work on this one in September. And then space number 11 is another page finish living in this project bag, also by the Brass Button. A lot of Brass Button bags today. And in here is Alice in a Dolly Dream, which is another one that I was really looking forward to getting back to for the page finish. So let me set this here. This is on a 25 count easy grid Lugana, 1/1 full cross, called for DMC, except black is anchor black. And so this is where I'm at with page 2. This one I have just over 2,000 stitches left to the page finish because I overstitched last time. So yeah, so this one is gonna get the page finished in September, and I'm just geeked about it. I'm super thrilled. So I'm thinking about maybe doing a page finish September, because I've got these two that I need to work on to the page finish. I'll have page 10 finished, hopefully, probably, on Personal Sunshine before the end of August. However, page 15 is a bottom row page, and so it's a little over a half a page. So I will hopefully get that page finished. So there's 3. Ravenkin is due for its page finish from a past whip go. So that's potentially 4 page finishes in September, and that sounds pretty attractive. So it may be a full coverage September for me. We'll kind of, we'll have to wait and see. Okay, non-full coverage whip go. One of them, and I don't remember which one it was the Swans by Cottage Garden Samplings, and I finished that earlier this year. So there's one I don't have to worry about. The next is something that lives in this project bag, which was a gift. And in here is my 2023 Collector's Heart by Heart and Hand. So this one I think is going to become my car project. Instead of a new start on the Prairie Schooler Santa just yet, I think this one would really suit to be a car project because, as mentioned, so this is stitched in Cottage Garden threads, not to be confused with Cottage Garden Samplings. They're not the same. But this is stitched with Cottage Garden threads, leather bound. It came in the kit. And I like this thread. I like the colors. I like the variegation. I like the way the thread feels, but the lengths are a little short for me. I just like them a little longer. I don't know why that bogs me down and bothers me, but that's kind of perfect for car stitching. I could probably get a length in while I'm waiting for pickup. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this my car project. So it's going to get some slow, regular progress. So there's that. And then this is being stitched on the provided fabric. It is a 32 count Belfast linen in Heartland by Picture This Plus with the leather bound. And I'm about a third of the way through, I would say. I'd say about a third is a fair estimate. So yeah, I love this piece. I cannot wait to have it finished, but the thread length makes me a little twitchy. So that's going to be my car project, and I think that's a solid plan. We'll work on that in the car. So those are the plans. Those are the projects I've got coming up here. We'll also have a reset on my small monthly goals. So we'll see September Quaker again. We'll see Ragnarok. We'll see Summer Sampler. Hopefully I can make some space for Touching the Autumn Sky, and Secret Stitch will get its progress. So yeah, so that's the plans. Okay, so let's switch over and talk about some Q&A. I don't have as much as I thought I did, so this will be great. So the first question I have is with regards to full coverage storage. I have mentioned several times that I have changed up my storage for my full coverage so that my projects can now fit in the smaller bags, the standard size bags. And I don't need necessarily the larger bags for my full coverage anymore. I mentioned that, and then I haven't gone through the what has changed yet. I did go through that in my last update. And then I had to cut the footage because one of my neighbors yelled like a really big F word. And I didn't hear it when it happened. I heard him out there talking about something going on in his lawn, but I didn't hear the F word until I was editing, and there was like no way of trimming. Anyway, so I scrapped it, and so we're back here today. So here's how I kit up and work my full coverage pieces. I have been using these for years. Now, these are the off-brand ones. You can get them for like $12, I think, on Amazon. There's also the Paco, which is the quote-unquote official brand. They are definitely pricier. I prefer the Paco, but my wallet prefers these. So, and really the only difference between these and the Paco is that these are wider, so they take up more physical space because they have the strip here where if you were a needle threader for each of these colors, then you could use that. I use them for the threads hanging here. And fortunately, I pulled a project where things are not super chaos. So I have used these for years for my full coverage. I've talked about this several times. I used to just put a length, a usable length, my favorite workable length, on these pulled from my master set. So if I would run out of $7.97, then I'd get up, I'd go to my master set, I'd cut a piece of $7.97 to put on the Paco thread organizer to use. And so that's what I did through all of In This Moment, really. I think In This Moment I finished in that way. And I have some dye lot issues. In This Moment, it is hardly noticeable. Personal Sunshine, there is a spot where it is noticeable, but with the nature of Jeremiah Ketner work, it's not a problem. It works. So I have started kitting up each of my full coverage pieces entirely. They have their own thread set separate from my master. Because I don't want any dye lot issues. And so I just do the math to figure out how many I need, how many skeins I need of each color. I will say that for all of my full coverage pieces, if they say that there are less than 600 stitches of a color, then I do pull that color from my master set. Because I can get about 100 stitches out of a thread from my workable length, so I rationalize that I can pull that from my master set, but 600 stitches and over, I get a full skein. So there's that. So I'm using these, and I have my full set in a bag, in this big lumpy bag. And so this is my set for Alice in a Dollar Dram. Okay, so let's say I run out of, we'll keep with our example, I run out of $7.97. So I go and pull my bag. I usually have this sitting next to me in my stitchy spot. And I have to rifle through all of these to find $7.97. Some of my projects, it's not so bad because there aren't as many skeins, but like for Haunted House, where I have 2 or 3 colors where I have at least 4 skeins in it's a lot. It's a lot to sort through, and so I'm spending a bunch of time looking through this. On top of the fact, this takes up space in my project bag. This is really what necessitated me using the larger bags for my full coverage pieces, because I would have my fabric folded up and I'd have these in there. Let me show you April so you can see what this looks like in an actual project, in an actual bag. So I've got my Paco thread organizers here, and then my big wad of thread down here, and then the fabric is in here, and it's just so cumbersome, so space using. So, and the annoyance with having to sort through all of those threads to find the one that I need to be able to replenish my thread organizer. It's a lot. It's a lot. I don't like bobbins. I don't enjoy the process of bobbinating. I don't like my thread getting kinked up on the bobbins. I don't like the inconsistencies. If I have like a bunch of built up tension from stress or whatever, then I wind bobbins differently than if I'm more relaxed. I don't enjoy bobbins. And so I leave these in the skeins. They're in here in the full skeins. But finding a way to organize them numerically so that I can easily find the thread, but not on a bobbin, has been a task. It's been a task. I think I have found a solution that works. Now, this does not fit in the project bag, so it is still additional storage that has to go somewhere, but the project bag takes up less space on my shelves. So this here is a colored pencil organizer, and you can get these in super high count. So like I saw one that was like a 450 count colored pencil organizer. This one is 72. I have another one that's 128, just to kind of see what size I liked better, and if the larger one worked, because some of my projects do have that many skeins where it's worthwhile. So this is my one for Personal Sunshine, and so this one doesn't have a whole lot of colors to begin with, but you can see they are organized like that. And this one slipped out and I haven't put it back in, but it's in its right spot. So they're all in numerical order. And I can easily pull this bottom tail here to be able to pull my length and snip it to add to my thread organizer. So this is great. I use a crochet hook or a chopstick or a reusable straw to sort of lift the elastic here, because it's a tight space to keep them all in there snug. So I used one of those tools to lift it, and then I can slide my skein in, and there we go. So like I said, I have another one that's 128, and that one is for Magic Study, because that one needs more than this. It's got more than 72 skeins that needed to go in there. So yeah, so this is my solution. And it folds up like a trapper keeper. It takes up space, no doubt, but I find it to be more economical because I don't have to buy the big bags for full coverage, and space saving, and also way easier to flip through and find the skein that I'm looking for, to be able to pull the thread out. I do not have one of these for every one of my full coverage. At this point, I only have the two that I have mentioned. And the reason for that is that a lot of my projects are getting a few thousand stitches this year. So it doesn't feel... It feels kind of silly to buy a bunch of these when I'm going to put in 3,000 stitches on a project this year. You know, that just seems silly. So when I am finished with Personal Sunshine, this one will move to Snow Castle, because Snow Castle is my next Heaven and Earth design, focus on a finished piece. Magic Study will keep its for forever. Let me know if you want to see the one for Magic Study, and I can bring that to show y'all in the next update. So yeah, so that's the plan there. So that's what I'm using that for. So it's not totally streamlined, but it's certainly better than it used to be. Sorting through that bag, I mean, I got really annoyed looking through that bag. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing there. As far as master set storage, we're going to save that conversation for another day. I use a pip and chip system, their floss tags, but I will show that to you at another day, because I still haven't finished it. I am still moving. I'm still shifting threads. I kind of let that task fall by the wayside over the last many months. So okay, let's switch over to some other Q&A. So I've had this question a few times, wondering if I can see any difference in the fuzziness when I use the Anchor Black mixed with DMC threads. No, I don't really notice a difference once I have stitched. Certainly not to the degree of like if you were adding Whisper to a project that was otherwise DMC. I don't notice a difference there. I think the thread itself is a little fuzzier, but it doesn't really translate once I've stitched with it. You don't really see the additional fuzziness. I think that it blends well, just fine. You probably wouldn't know the difference. Okay, so Hannah left a comment on my Whip Parade, and it asks, how do you decide what to stitch? I struggle with that, to the point where I made up a whole game to try to help me decide what to stitch. WhipGo was meant to be one of those tools to help me decide what I was going to work on. I use Tiny Decisions wheels to help me choose things. I let my husband pick projects. Sometimes I go prompt-based and I choose stitchy challenges that help me choose what to work on. I don't do well with SWIWI. SWIWI is an acronym that stands for Stitch What You Want, When You Want. And I don't do well with that because my mind gets pulled in all the different directions, and then I'm sitting there staring at my projects more than actually stitching. Because I stitch on such a wide range of different things, full coverage, samplers, modern, fancy ladies, chatelaines, more prim things, more modern stylized things, typography. I mean, like I run the gamut. I can't help it. I like them all. Sometimes I wish that I was somebody who could just kind of primarily focus on one style of stitching, because I feel like that would make things a little bit easier for me. But no, I gotta complicate things. So SWIWI never works for me because I usually have 7 or 8 projects that are calling, and that leaves me with decision paralysis. So, like I said, WhipGo, decision wheels, prompt-based stitchy challenge, things like that. That's what helps me decide what to stitch on. And then Hannah also asks, have you thought about doing a finish parade dating back to 2016? I have really thought about doing another finish parade. I did a quote-unquote bin of shame or bin of awesome parade many moons ago. And I haven't done an updated finish parade in a long time. That's going to require some organizing. So maybe I can do something like that before too long. I know that that's ambiguous and very vague, but perhaps that's something that we can look at doing here before too long. Okay, next question is coming from Mildred, and Mildred wants to know about the themed months or the stitch named months. So for instance, we have Monogamous May / Mania. And I responded directly to Mildred, but I'm putting this out here on the video in case anybody has any more that I am perhaps not thinking of. So we have Monogamous May or Mania, depending on your school of thought. Monogamous May is where you focus on just one project for the month. Mania is kind of however you make it, but make it different. And a lot of folks cram in a bunch of new starts in the month of May. We also have Sampler September, where the focus is on samplers, and Arbitrary August, which was created by Sarah Stitchin' Mommy. And Arbitrary August is where you arbitrarily choose what's next. There is also Dark October stitching. Dark October was originally started by Michelle of Cozy Egg and Emily of Eclectic Possessions, where you work on your macabre, your spooky, your Halloween pieces throughout the month of October. I know that we have Stitch Asia in March, where we focus on Asian designers. And there is also Christmas in July. A lot of folks will work on Christmas things in July. Am I missing anything, y'all? Are there any other themed months that are in amongst the stitching community that I'm not totally thinking of? put them in the comments below if there's anything I didn't mention. So yeah, so those are some of the themed months. And then, so let's get into some giveaways. Super, super exciting stuff here. My friend Jen Wagner, we met officially at Stitch, New Jersey last summer, 2023. And then we got to chatting again at Stitching in the Springs last fall, StitchCon this summer, and again at Stitch, New Jersey this summer. We kind of get together outside of the states in which we live. Ohio, New Jersey, what have you. I have gotten to chat with Jen quite a few times, and she has an online needlework store, but she is getting a brick and mortar. The brick and mortar is in progress as we speak. It is set to open. She's hoping for end of summer, early fall, to open the doors and for us to have a new LNS here on the East Coast. So she's in Delaware. What sets Jen's store apart from your typical LNS is that Jen also makes candles. Jen will be selling her candles in her LNS as well. So the LNS is called Floss and Flame, and keep in mind they are operating online currently. The retail location isn't open yet, but it will be soon. So here's the logo, Floss and Flame, and then business information is on the other side of this card. Jen approached me while we were at StitchCon, and she said, "I've got some stuff. Would you like to do some giveaways? I'll hand you some stuff. You can do some giveaways. Toss my business card in there. Spread the love and get the word out about Floss and Flame getting ready to open." And I said, I'm totally thrilled and happy to do that. Give me whatever you like, whatever you want to give me. I will share it with my viewers. While at Stitch, New Jersey, she handed me one of these, just full of stuff. So there's a lot here, and we're gonna space this out a little bit. We're gonna do part of it today and then the other part in a couple of weeks. So my standard rules here, please be 18 or over so that I can get your address from you or have a parent or guardian's permission to give me your address. I'd like it if you were a subscriber. That would be cool. Please do not say the words contest or giveaway or me please or win or anything like that. Any of those buzzwords that are going to attract trolls. I'd like for this stuff to go to Stitchers, who are then going to put Floss and Flame on their to travel to list and online needle workshop list. So I am going to, with each of these, I'm going to give a keyword. So please use that keyword in your comment to enter. Okay. I will ship these also anywhere in the world. No problem. So this first set is going to be fall themed. All right. First up, we have Harvest Tiny Town. So adorable. I have every one of these. I want to stitch these so bad. Yeah, super cute. So this is Harvest Tiny Town. I have one of these to give away today, and so we are going to use the keyword town, 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 to win Heart and Hands Harvest Tiny Town. Super exciting. Okay, up next I have two of these. Adorable. And we have Perfect Pumpkin, also by Heart and Hand. And we've got two copies of these. So for this one, use the apt keyword pumpkin. So we'll use the word pumpkin for this one. Oh, this is adorable. This does not come with any of the buttons. You need to source those yourself. They are Jabco buttons. As I said, two winners for these. And then also for two winners, we have Cast a Spell by Cottage Garden Samplings. Y'all know I am a big fan of Cottage Garden Samplings, and I had never seen this before, which is odd, but super cool. Each of those could be a small unto itself or stitch them all together, as I would probably do. I love the black rose in that corner. That's really cool. So we have two of these, and for this one, our keyword is going to be spell. Spell, spell. So those are the giveaways. Again, two winners for those. So those are the giveaways for this time. Enter for any, all three. Just know that if you get called for one, that's it. I'm going to try to spread the love as far and wide as we can for these. So very exciting. Jen, if you're watching, thank you so much for sharing all of this goodness with me and with my viewers. And I'm so excited for Floss and Flame to open. I can't wait. I'm going to make a trip up. I'm going to make Floss and Flame my long distance LNS, I think is what I've decided to call it. My LD LNS. So very, very cool. So enter for those if you want to win any of those charts. Okay, we have two more subjects left, and that is some knitting and some books. So let's get into the knitting. This is going to be really brief. I have only been working on one project, and I haven't done a whole lot on it, but I have been trying to get this finished, and I'm a long ways off. So this in question is the 24 Birds Mystery Knit Along by Curious Handmade. It is a circular shawl that was a mystery knit along, but it finished up in April, maybe May. No, I think the last clue came out on my birthday, actually. So this has been a completed mystery for a long time. There have been a few finishes floating around on the internet. I am at the 55% mark. I think I'm at 55% now. Now, she does her percentages based on number of stitches, so it takes a really long time to get to 5%. I am now hitting the next 5% every couple of rows. Because my rounds now are 576 stitches. So take that percentage, not based on the rounds. This is not going to get twice the diameter, but it will get twice the number of stitches that I have already done, which is kind of mind-boggling when you think about it. So I am using Emma's yarn, and I'm going to list the colorways here because I don't have my tags. My daughter took them and is wearing them as bracelets. So I will put the colorway names on the screen here as well as in the description box with my knitting segment. And I have been working in this green section for forever. I have knit very inconsistently. I go weeks and at least weeks without picking up my knitting at all. It's summer, and this is a blanket. It's warm. So I'm gonna make some more progress on this here coming up because I'd really like to have this for fall. I'd like to have it finished by the time we really get into some colder temperatures. Yeah. So I am working on this segment here, and in here we have, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but the textured section and a little bit of lace and some flat knitting. This is great. It is a lot. It's a lot of stitches, but it's a lot of fun. And I'm using Chiaogoo red lace needles in US size 6 4mm with that fingering weight singles yarn, which I love. So there we have it. I haven't shown this in a long time, but I haven't done a whole lot. I think last time I was somewhere in these stripes. So yeah, I haven't done a whole lot, but it's been a lot of stitches. I sit down, I do a row. It takes me, I don't know, 20 minutes to 30, depending on if it's a lace row or a rest row. And I've done 500 stitches. So anyway, so that is the knitting update. The knitting is starting to call a little bit louder as we are promised cooler temperatures. I won't say we've hit it yet. We did have one sub 80 day, which was absolutely glorious, but yeah. Otherwise, you know, like I said, it's like over 100 today. I was just about to sit down and start talking about the books, but I've got to leave here in about 10 minutes to go do pickup. And some of the books that I want to talk to you about, I'd like to give more space than 10 minutes will allow. So we're just going to save books until next week. Fortunately, I don't expect a whole lot of projects over the next 7 days, so we should have the space and the time to be able to talk about books next time. So we'll just hold that thought for a little bit longer. And who knows, maybe I'll finish a couple more books between now and then and have even more to talk about. So I'm gonna head off. Thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you for your continued support of me and my channel. Thanks for coming back just a few days later. But we are gonna get on a regular routine here, and I am thrilled and excited to be able to do that. Obviously, I didn't have any shout outs today. I haven't watched a lick of FlossTube over the last few days, but hopefully I will have some shout outs for you next week. Okay, I'm out of here. I will catch y'all in the next one. As always, be kind. Happy stitching. I hope you're well. See you then.